My name is Terri. I guess this part of my story is that my son Matthew, my youngest son, died on August 15th, 2014. Matthew was 39. He had been struggling with depression, anxiety, panic disorder for a number of years. And he ended up having a pacemaker put in for an electrical problem with his heart, which just exacerbated everything. He eventually turned to alcohol to cope. And it was hard for him to accept the fact that he was an alcoholic, because he was more of a binge drinker. He could go long periods of time without drinking, but when he drank till he was out of money and that. Well, at this period of time in his life, he was living just across the parking lot from me. We had become just very, very close. I had been forcibly retired. He was on disability. We just spent a lot of time together and a lot of healing time. But he was struggling. And at this particular point, he was detoxing from a binge. Every time in the past, they insisted on hospitalizing him because detoxing, when you have heart problems, is very dangerous. Well, this time, for whatever reason, twice we went to the ER. Twice they sent him home and did not admit him. And of course they send you home with medication, and supposedly to detox on your own. Well, 3 days into the detox, I was supposed to take him to an appointment, and he didn't answer my text. Usually first thing in the morning I would hear from him. I didn't hear from him. I thought maybe finally he's getting some sleep, which he hadn't slept in days. But as the morning went on, I knew that he had to be up and showered and ready to go to the appointment. So I finally went over to his apartment and knocked, and he didn't answer. And I had a key to his apartment. So with my heart in my throat, I put the key in the door. As soon as I opened the door, I saw his shoes laying on the living room floor, and I thought, phew, he wouldn't have gone anywhere without his shoes, But then I called to him, and he didn't answer. And I could see down the hall to the bathroom. The bathroom door was open, so I knew I had to go to the bedroom. And this is the part that always gets me. Sorry. So I started down the hallway and glanced into his bedroom, and I didn't see him. He was not in the bed. And then I took another glance, and he had collapsed. There was just a narrow space between his bed and the wall, and he had collapsed beside his bed. And so I reached down, thinking to try and rouse him. And he was cold. Yeah. That was the beginning of what now has become my story. I'm not sure that patience is something that I really had on my mind, but certainly this has developed patience in me. The process of grieving, the process of healing is long, and it's hard, and it's something that you have to make a conscious choice to heal. You have to make a conscious choice to work at it. I realized by talking to a lot of other parents who had lost children that some people were stuck in their grief, and some people had moved in a negative direction. There's a saying that there's no wrong way to grieve, but there's certainly a wrong way to cope with grief, and I knew I didn't want to go down that path. So, patience is definitely something that God has taught me through this. Persevering is definitely a word that I would use in this process. Because like I said, it is a long process. I still don't know at this point what healing looks like. I believe in healing because, the Bible says that God will heal the brokenhearted. I'm not sure if that's even possible this side of heaven, but I do know that I am healing. The biggest thing for me has been to learn to seek God, to learn to seek the healer more than the healing. Healing comes, I have found, with drawing close to God. I've had many people in my life helping me. I have a wonderful support group that loves me unconditionally and helps me to heal. My son has been a rock for me. But the word perseverance, I think, applies just so strongly to my relationship with God. It's hard for me to offer advice to someone who's going through a long trial. I've often said, I don't know why, but God healed Matthew on that day. And as much as I miss him, I know that he's better off, and I know that he's healed. I felt guilty for a while at the relief I felt being out of the difficult situation. But my experience, and we struggled for years, Matthew and I, our relationship, and so my experience is just don't ever give up. Learn what is your part and what is God's part. That's a hard thing to learn. When to let go, when to not enable, and just be working on your relationship with God, because answers come in the strangest ways. Through everyday circumstances, sometimes in the ways that we just never could even imagine. So don't give up. Keep pursuing God. And seek out other people who are struggling. There's plenty of people who want to be there for you. In our group, we feel like we're helping to carry out God's command to uphold each other and pray for each other and support each other. So get connected. Get connected. You're not alone.